How's it going, fight fans? Welcome to mindforcombat. If you're new to this channel, my name's Rohan. It's my platform where I do MMA and boxing related content. If you're new here, why don't you help me grow my channel? All you got to do is hit the subscribe button, like the video, dislike it if you don't, and maybe get involved in the conversation in the comment section below. With that said, for this video I'm going to be breaking down the upcoming main event for UFC Moscow, and that's between Zabit Magomedsharipov. I had to take a deep breath before I said his name because I didn't want to mess it up, as he takes on the rising Calvin Kattar. This is a great fight of featherweight prospects, a great main event. And it's going to be a fight that over 5 rounds I'm very interested to see play out. There's a couple of key considerations coming into this fight. Firstly, the winner of this fight puts himself in a position to be a great fringe top contender. Zabit's obviously undefeated in the UFC. He's 17-1 overall, and he's got a lot of hype behind him. A lot of people dabbing him as the next, great fighter from Dagestan, right behind Khabib Nurmagomedov, as he takes on Calvin Kattar, who just got that emphatic finish over Ricardo Lamas. He's also looked incredible against guys like Shane Burgos, and he's just a really good, well-rounded fighter who's got actually a very respectable record at 20 wins and 3 losses. So this is a fight between two really good featherweights that are really borderline contenders, and after this perhaps even a win away from a title shot. When you look at the landscape of the featherweight division, this is a very, very exciting fight. With that said, I'm going to go through the tape of the tape and I'm going to break this fight down stat by stat. So first things first, the age. They are both very young men. Zabit is slightly younger. Zabit is only 28 years old. Calvin Kattar, he's not an old man. He's 31. He's obviously getting there in his 30s now, but he's still a young man, still in his athletic and physical prime. And you shouldn't see either of these guys decline. Actually, you should see both these guys at the top of the game now for a pretty long time to come. So, being at a great time. Zabit has a professional mixed martial arts record of 17 wins and 1 loss. And he takes on Calvin Kattar, who has a professional record of 20 wins and 3 losses. In terms of experience, Calvin Kattar has a few more fights, but Zabit has a few more UFC fights. Also, Zabit's had spotlights on him a bit more. But then so has Calvin Kattar. He's fought on main cards as well. They both have a relatively even amount of experience. So really, if you're looking at their age and their records, it's a fairly even fight. It's a pretty good matchup right there, in my opinion. Now, here's where the differences start to show. Zabit is a very, very long featherweight. He stands at 6'1.5". Some people say 6'2", but the best stats that I could find is 6'1.5", so let's go with that. And he fights Calvin Kattar, who stands at 5'11", who's also a tall featherweight in his own right, if you think about it. But that still makes him about 2 inches shorter than Zabit, 2.5 inches shorter than Zabit, and Zabit no doubt will look to utilise that. Zabit also enjoys a little bit of a reach advantage. He has a 73-inch reach, and Calvin Kattar has a 72-inch reach. Only 1 inch, but considering he's a little bit taller, and that suits his style, and the fact that he kicks a lot as well, these are interesting statistics that we should make note of. Now, let's talk about their styles. Zabit's got a very unpredictable style. He can do it all. He can mix it up. He can wrestle. He can strike, everything. But he throws a lot of spinning techniques as well. He jumps off the cage. He's quite wild, kind of like a young Anthony Pettis. But he mixes it in with very technically proficient defensive skills as well. He's got great boxing. He's got decent head movement. But where he shines is his kicks and his footwork. For Calvin Kattar, his style really relies on his boxing. I believe he can do it all, but as we've seen, where he really excels in the mixed martial arts game is with his hands, is with his boxing technique. And I believe that if he enjoys one advantage in this fight, it will be his boxing. Anyways, with that said, let's look at some of the key wins. Now, both of these guys are still in the process of building their resumes to becoming top contenders, and they fight each other at a perfect time. Kind of reminds me of the Cody Garbrandt versus Thomas Almeida fight, where there's 2 undefeated prospects that were meeting. Obviously, they're both not undefeated, but still very, very good. For Zabit, some of his key wins will be guys like Jeremy Stephens. Jeremy Stephens is a very respected, durable vet of the UFC, and he's a long-time fighter. Obviously, fight fans know who Jeremy is very well. And a guy who Zabit has also beaten, who I really respect, is Shayman Moraes. Shayman Moraes, the former World Series of Fighting World Championship contender, and a guy who fought in the UFC for a little bit, is actually a very, very good all-round striker, very talented striker. Yes, he got knocked out by Andre Fili. Anyone can lose a fight, but he's a good fighter. For Calvin Kattar, when we're looking at his 2 key wins, he's actually got some pretty solid key wins in his own right. He's got a win over Shane Burgos, who was undefeated at the time. Shane Burgos, of course, gone on to beat the likes of Cub Swanson. Shane Burgos, a good fighter. And he's also beaten Ricardo Lamas, the former world title challenger as well. So, and he knocked him out pretty damn brilliantly. So that was a really, really good fight. For Zabit, when we're looking at his issues, it's going to be those spinning techniques. He can be a bit wild. He may set himself up to get hurt just to put on an entertaining performance for the fan. He's the type of fighter that likes to shine in front of a crowd, so that may impact him. And I do believe Zabit to be hittable, and Calvin Kattar hits hard, so that's a dangerous thing. For Calvin Kattar, I believe when we're looking at his issues, it's going to be his he's kind of predictable. He's only a boxer, kind of got that rampage effects going, and he's also susceptible to leg kicks. If you remember back to his fight with Renato Moicano, I believe Renato Moicano was able to exploit his inability to defend leg kicks, and he just ate up the leg kicks throughout the whole course of the fight. That was a really, really bad performance in my opinion from Calvin Kattar, so that's going to be his issue. When we're talking about X factors for Zabit, he's well-rounded, so he's got wrestling, he can mix it up, and also his kicks as well. No doubt he's going to be targeting the legs. And for Calvin Kattar, his X factor is going to be his power. Of the two, I would say Calvin Kattar hits a lot harder. Zabit, in my opinion, can be hittable at times. That's going to be a real X factor to keep your eye on. With that said, now let's get into the fight, and let me let you guys know how I think the fight plays out. So this fight will be handled on the feet. I believe Zabit's got the wrestling to decide where the fight goes. Calvin Kattar's not going to come looking for a takedown anyway. And if the fight is to go down, it's going to be on Zabit's terms, so that favours Zabit. With that said, I believe that this fight's going to be handled on the feet. On the feet, although Calvin Kattar is dangerous and proficient and can win the fight, Zabit has a vast more variety of tools. He has got much more tools at his disposal to use on the feet. He can kick, elbow, knee, box, everything. Whereas Calvin Kattar can do all those things where he's going to predominantly box, there's no doubt about that. I believe that Zabit's going to be able to replicate Renato Moicano's success and beat up Calvin Kattar's front leg. When he's beating up Calvin Kattar's front leg, he will lose power in his punches because he won't be able to slip down in it, and that will set him up to be taken down. While I don't think Zabit will go for takedowns early in the fight, I believe once Calvin Kattar is getting exhausted, he will mix in the takedowns to implement his game further. With that said, I believe Zabit's going to be able to control the distance on the feet with his kicks as well. He's going to beat up the front leg, and then when it does get into the crazy exchanges, does get into danger, he has the opportunity to take it down. In my opinion, Zabit's going to batter his leg, he's going to outstrike him throughout the course of the fight, and we're going to see a clean decision win for Zabit Magomedsharipov, who I believe is a vastly more superior fighter, just he doesn't carry the punching power to get the knockout finish. So fight fans, for my official prediction, I'm going with Zabit to get the win after 5 clear rounds of him winning a 50-45 decision in my opinion. So fight fans, why don't you guys comment below? Let me know how you thought my breakdown went, and let me know how you guys have for this fight, how you think Zabit does in this fight, and what do you think is next for the winner. I'll be interested in getting into it with you guys, so guys, remember to comment below. Thank you for watching. I'm Rohan, and this is Mind for Combat.